back to leader.
Red snapper, American red snapper. We got them coming up on every rod. Even Billy caught one on his brim pole over there. On tonight's show, we are going way out in the Gulf of Mexico to do a long-range bottom fishing trip, and we are going to catch fish so big you won't believe it. Stay with us. Fishing with Bill Miller starts right now. Hello everybody, welcome to Fishing with Bill Miller. We're coming to you live tonight from the Tahitian Inn Hotel, Cafe and Spa located at 601 South Del Mabry in Tampa. The Tahitian Inn is a family tradition here in Tampa, a world-class boutique hotel. If you're coming to Tampa, make sure you check out the Tahitian Inn. Joining me tonight, my long-range, deep-water bottom fishing expert, my good buddy, Captain Travis Palladeno. Travis, welcome aboard, and we had another big trip.
Captain Bill, thank you very much for having me this evening, and it was fantastic having you and Captain Billy on the boat again, and got some good footage. We caught some nice fish, so I hope the folks enjoy the show.
I'm sure they will. Travis, how did you, Travis runs these trips, and I've been fishing with Travis a lot through the years. How did you get into the deep water fishing?
About 20 years ago, I started out with about a 23-footer like any young captain, running trips out, and kind of fell in love, started creeping out a little deeper and deeper, moved up to a 30-footer, started wanting to run out 100-plus miles, and found out that 30-footer wasn't quite right boat, and then stepped it up to that 45-foot Phantom, and you see what it does out there. Between 240, 300, 400 feet of water, it's the place to be.
A trip with Travis to the deep water is, like he said, a 100-mile run, and you're fishing 240 to 300, 400 feet of water. You mentioned your boat, a 45-foot Phantom. You got to have a special boat to do that. Talk to me about the power. What kind of power you got?
The power we have on this vessel is twin 350 EMR diesels, powered by twin outdrives. Been working with Mastery Engine Center through the last few years, and they have developed and put together a drivetrain for those diesels that just speed and fuel economy is definitely the key to get out there and get it done.
Well, the boat is an extremely smooth riding boat, and Travis, we were cruising at what, 40, 50 miles an hour?
Average 45 all day long.
So if you're going out 100 miles, say you run 2 hours, shoot, I used to run 2 hours to fish in 55 feet of water northwest of Tarpon Springs when I was running out of there. So it's a good boat, and when we go out there, we catch them. And you're going to see the tackle we use. Let's just talk briefly about the tackle, Travis. I know you may be out there watching and saying, I couldn't reel up a fish from 300 feet of water. Well, you can. It's not easy, but you've got a cure for that.
Bill, yeah, we use a little bit of different tackle there. We use the precision electric reels with the typical 9/0 pin reel. I like using the Shimano jigging reels. The retrieval on those, I believe, are 6 to 1, 7 to 1. So, you know, for every turn, bringing in an extra 6 or 7 turns of line, you can get on them pretty quick. And the main thing is not the speed you get them from the bottom up. It's just that first 10, 15 feet to get them out of the rocks.
So the precision was the electric reel. An electric reel, as you'll see, as you plug it in, push the button, and it starts reeling up for you. Now, it's not that easy, as you'll see with some of these big fish. The other reels are a hand crank reel, but it's a pretty neat new system, this butterfly jig system, and we're going to show you more of that here in just a minute. Now, we talked about going way out there, Travis, 100 miles. You don't just hop in your boat and get ready to go out 100 miles. There's a lot of things that you've got to do in preparation for that. And coming up in this segment, we're going to show you what that is. If you're going to go out in the Gulf of Mexico, when you're going 100 miles or you're going 1 mile, you need to be safe, and here's some safety tips. Travis, going 100 miles offshore like we're going to be doing today,
what type of safety gear do we have?
Bill, you know, some of the things that I bring along that I think number one is the most important. Number one, of course, your life jackets. Making sure everybody has enough life jackets for each person on the boat. Another thing that I bring along is a little extra safety thing, is a powered jump box. Even though this vessel has 3 big double D batteries in it, you never know. If your batteries go dead, you're sitting there, you're 100 miles offshore, you know, having something with enough cranking amps to get your engines turned back over. I mean, it'd be silly something as simple as a dead battery stopping you from getting back home.
Exactly.
Even, you know, 20, 30, 40 miles offshore, it's a great investment.
Yep.
Of course, the main things is having your EPIRB. And the main things about your EPIRB is always before you leave on your trips, do a test check.
And tell me, Travis, exactly what an EPIRB does.
An EPIRB, what it does is you have a serial number on it. Mm-hmm. And what you do each year is you register it. And it's registered to your vessel, your home address. So if this starts beeping offshore, the Coast Guard knows immediately to go ahead and call the home, number one, to see if the vessel's there, to see if it's, you know, has gone off by accident. Mm-hmm. So it's a great tool to have that, you know, that possibly might save your life. Mm-hmm. Another thing that I like taking offshore, of course, is my satellite telephone. The satellite telephone, of course, you know, works anywhere around the world. It's nice to be able to dial a couple of numbers and get in touch with somebody if you have some issues. One of the biggest things on the boat, and I don't have it pulled out right now, is our life raft. Also going out 100 miles. A life raft, it's another investment. You can get them from anywhere to $1,000 to $4,000 for 6 people, 7 people. And that's another thing that just, you know, might save your life. So besides going out having fun, trying to catch big fish, you know, to me, safety is the key of always making it back home.
Do we need to tell somebody just generally before we leave where we're going?
Yes, I always leave a float plan. Of course, we're leaving from my house today. There's a float plan inside that I've left for my wife, giving her about the exact area that we'll be fishing all day. Mm-hmm. So that's another key, giving her an estimated time when we might be back. So if she sees us, of course, we're going to be running late today. If she knows after midnight to go ahead and make a call to the Coast Guard. So that a float plan is a big thing. Also, a working VHF. Before you leave the dock or the day before, just get on the VHF. You can get on channel 16, make a call to CTOW to do a radio check. They'll give you a radio check, tell you how your signal sounds, and that's something else that could possibly save your life. So these couple of items just makes it a relaxing, fun day on the water, because, you know, if you run into a bind, and if it can happen on the water, it usually does. So these items can probably save your life.
It pays to take a little bit extra time and maybe a little bit extra money, but how much are you going to pay for a safe trip versus one with a bad ending? I'm glad we're going with Travis, and he's got all the gear.
Welcome back. Joining me tonight is Captain Travis Palladeno. And Travis, for making that 100-mile run like we did, that's you need the extreme safety gear. If you're going to fish close in, you don't need quite all of that, but you do need some important stuff.
Yeah, Bill, you're right. You know, definitely a VHF radio, and a good thing with your VHF radio is to, before you leave port, get on channel 16. You can hail for a radio check. CTOW monitors the station. They'll ask you to switch to another station and give you a radio check to make sure you got a good signal. Life preservers, definitely a key. They make a lot of different style of EPIRBs, personal EPIRBs out there nowadays, and for $199, it's a good investment. If you can't step up to the plate and spend $600 to $800 or $1,000 for a big one, these little ones are definitely good life insurance policies.
So if you're going 1 mile out or 100 miles out, safety is the key. And you can go online and go to the Coast Guard site or the Coast Guard Auxiliary. They will have, during the year, free safety checks at the boat ramps. You can see it in the paper. We sometimes get the press releases. You can check right here for those, and they'll come to you, check your boat for all the safety gear that you need. So it's important. It's real important, and there's, unfortunately, Travis, been some fatalities here over the last year or two that possibly could have been saved by that. We don't know. But let's don't take any chances. We want you to go fishing, but most of all, we want you to come back.
And have fun.
Yeah, and have fun while you're at it. Let's head out into the Gulf of Mexico with Captain Travis Palladeno. Joining us on this trip is Jeff the Jeweler. That's Jeff Brown from Madeira Beach, and his son Jeremy, a college student just heading off to Ithaca College one day, wanting to be a broadcaster for ESPN or maybe even a baseball player. And my son, Captain Billy Miller, first mate Jason Boyle, and off we go in the Gulf of Mexico. Jason's going to get us set up, and we might even catch a couple fish.
Can't see the bottom, we're good. Made them this morning just working hard.
Travis, how far out are we going? How deep is it going to be when we get there? And what can we expect to catch?
Well, Bill, as you see from the GPS, we've got 105 miles to go from right here in beautiful Johns Pass. When we get out there, we'll probably start out catching big American red snappers. There should be some AmberJacks out there, scamp, gag grouper. You know, it's the spring, so it's going to be about anything that swims in the Gulf is going to be on it. Start out there, we're going to roll over to a wreck after that, and then come off and hit some bottom back in about 220 feet. So it should be a pretty exciting morning.
So we're going to be 200 to 300 feet, you were saying?
Yeah, 300 feet is going to be our first stop with the spring out, 300 feet.
Do we have enough line to get down there at the bottom?
If we need more, we'll tie a little bit more on.
How about the big, you call them carbos, rusty bellies? What are they, and might we expect to catch some?
Carbos will probably be a little bit deep to be catching carbos. As far as rusty bellies, yeah, the gag grouper, the mature gag grouper, we have caught gags in these areas, so there is a good possibility of catching them. The bad thing now is, you know, we'll be able to keep the red snapper being June right now, but the gag grouper, we're going to have to go ahead and safely vent and release them to catch them on another day, hopefully July 1st.
The carbo, Travis, is that a true black grouper?
Yeah, that's a true black grouper.
Okay, and the rusty belly is a mature gag. Why do you call them rusty bellies?
Well, if you look at the bellies, when you catch them, you'll see a lot of pinkish, brown, dark, and from what it is, it's from them laying on the bottom and rubbing against the rocks. And why they do that, Captain Bill, I have no idea, but boy, when they come over to gunnel, they sure do look pretty.
All right, 105 miles, 200 to 300 feet, fish so big we don't even know the names of them. Here we go. All right.
It's called hammering the drag. That's all you do.
So it's
That's
a two-hand double wrap pull. That's how you set the drag. Is that 100?
That's 100 Mamoy main line.
Okay.
Yeah, then we use 125 for the leader. And hammer the drag down. Don't let go of the pole. Hammer down. All right, Jeremy, when you hold this rod, you want to make sure that you have your hand, this is like a pistol grip, okay? Push the button is all you got to do. You don't have to set the hook. You don't do nothing. This sets the hook for you, okay? You hold the rod on your right-hand side, and what you want to do is you want to keep your elbow on the back of the butt, that way, and your hand on the front. So when you're fishing, you feel the bite, you push the button, you hold on, and you push down with the leverage, yeah. This will hurt you.
Yeah.
Okay? When you get the hang of it, you'll feel it. Pull up, push down, and it keeps the balance right. Don't do this.
All right.
Okay? Let me get you a bait. how you anchor. 320 foot of water. Don't stop, buddy. Here it comes.
Now you hear it.
There you go. Yeah.
Now we hear those gears are working. Jeremy, what's that? AmberJack, the jack. Silver trap.
The rail.
Blackfin! Tuna,
Stop.
are you kidding me?
Lift it. Right in the eyes. That's how you. That's how.
The
Only way
right there.
to gap a tuna. Right in the eye. Cast way up.
Look at that, buddy.
Proper way to bleed a blackfin tuna. A lot of people want to cut the tail off. You can do that. A lot of people want to slide their throat right here, which is a good idea too. But the way I was always taught, the main artery runs through the middle of the fish. All you need to do is come right behind the back pectoral fin right here. Make one slice until you hit that artery. Right there. Right there. And you just stick them right in the bucket. See the blood coming out?
There he goes.
And then he'll flip around, drain his own blood out.
Look at that.
That's how you do it. See, it's a double current. See it go straight down, look. Oh boy, he's grown up. Good boy.
Digging on you, Jay.
Boy.
Hold on to him, son.
That's what I say, Jay.
How big is that one, Travis?
Well, it's definitely about 50 pounds. The back's telling me that.
Need some help? We gotta let that one go.
Yeah, we gotta let them go. They're closed right now. But two pelagics.
Definitely.
Back-to-back pelagics.
And you know what we gotta do with this guy?
This one's going in the box.
Welcome back to Fishing with Bill Miller. We got our first fish in the boat when we were out there, and we've been talking about bottom fishing, Travis, and mainly that's what we do when we go out with you on those long-range trips. But you get some pelagics too, don't you?
Oh yeah, you'll pick up some AJs, wahoos, kingfish, everything that swims. It
Tuna.
swims in that deep water. Oh yeah.
And we got the tuna, and the tuna is a bonus, and a lot of people don't really think about the blackfin tuna being a fish that you could target or catch. But this past year here in the west coast of Florida, we caught lots of them. And tuna, really any fish when you bring it on board, tuna especially though, Travis, they're dark meat. And there's a little technique that Jason showed us there to really increase the flavor of the meat, the look of the meat also.
Yeah, absolutely. Making the cut there by the gills, bleeding them out in a bucket of water. And then that way the meat, the blood doesn't coagulate in the meat,
yeah.
And it keeps that nice fresh taste of tuna. So it definitely helps to know, besides making sure you ice your fish down when you catch them, how to set them up to ice them down.
Yeah, and that's a big key also, like Travis said, getting them iced. The AmberJack, that is the tunas and bonitas, remember the tuna family, are tough fighters. When you get those great big old AmberJack down on the bottom especially, they're tough.
Yeah, and there's a reason why they call them reef donkeys, Bill.
Reef donkeys.
Yeah, pound for pound, it is a pulling fish.
Yeah.
So, you know, and right now the season, you know, during the season out there fishing right now, AmberJacks are closed. So I think we did a good job. We did catch a few, but we were able to release them and let them swim back into to the deep blue.
And the AmberJack are delicious. They are good eating. Now let's talk about the when we get out there, Travis. You're way out there and anchoring. Most of the time you anchor on your spot. Is that correct?
Yes.
So anchoring in 300 feet of water, you need at times you might need 1,000 feet of anchor line.
Yeah,
for safety.
Yeah,
normally
normally what we do is try to keep it, you know, a 2-to-1 scope.
Right.
Number one, you don't want a lot of anchor line out because the boat will start swinging back and forth over the spot. You want to try to stay tight on the spot. I think the key definitely is, it's been always a rule of thumb for me, is that your anchor weight is the same as the length of the boat. I have a 45-footer, I have a 45-pound anchor.
Yep.
I use 40 feet of chain, so I don't have to require on a long scope of rope to get the boat to stick.
Now, when we got out there, we got anchored on the spot, but then we put our lines, they went straight back like we were trolling. And what was that? They should go straight down with a pound of weight. They should go straight down, but they weren't.
No, and what we had going on that day is what they call a false current. And what it was is you have current on the top of the water, but you don't have current down below. And if you noticed, when you caught a fish and you started reeling up, and I'm sure a lot of the footage will show that, your line ended up coming straight up and down. So what your line was kind of doing was kind of bowing a little bit in that current, but your bait and your weight was directly below the bottom of the boat. So, but it does the same thing when you're fishing that deep. Definitely crank in the extra slack of your line, you know, never jerk in deep water, because especially we're fishing mono. And so in 300 feet, you probably have about 6 foot or 7 foot of stretch.
Well, if you're going to anchor in 30 feet or 300 feet, anchoring precisely on the spot is the key to catching fish. It may take you once or twice or 3 times. I think it took us 3. Once Travis figured out what we were doing, this is something only a guy with experience like Travis could have probably figured out. You got to anchor right on the spot. So let's take a look as we readjust the anchor to get just right, so our lines will go out and drop right where Travis wanted them.
You anchor 320 foot of water.
Just right. Travis and his wisdom got it so that our lines would go out like this with the current, get down past that false current, and then go straight down. I almost pictured it as a right angle. It was a little bit more of a 45, but he got us right on the spot. And our target was big red snapper. How'd you know they were there? Years of experience.
Good guess.
Yeah, he's a good guesser. This guy is. He's a good guesser. He told me that there was going to be some big red snapper, and it is red snapper season. The grouper, gag grouper, has not opened up yet. It will soon, but it was red snapper season, and he promised us some big ones, and I think he was right. Let's take a look.
There he is. That's what you're looking for. That's what you're looking for. Oh, it's not. How do you like that little fish rod, Billy?
I was asking for trouble when I put a mackerel on it.
Oh boy.
Let's get a real rod.
Everybody's got
No, come on, baby. Nice red snapper, Billy.
Woo!
You're a man, Billy. Ah, dang. Come back here, boy.
Big American.
It's a big goldfish.
What's the captain got on?
I don't know, Travis.
I think getting close, don't you? Look at that red snapper there, buddy. Holy cow. Holy red snapper. That man. That's the red snapper, American red snapper. We got them coming up on every rod. Even Billy caught one on his brim pole over there. How big's this one, Travis? 15,
Nice,
20 pounds?
15 pounds. Red snapper. That is a healthy and American red snapper.
Yes, sir. Season open. These boys are here. Now, it took us a while, Travis. It took the experience of our good captain to get us anchored on this spot because the wind and the tide are opposing each other, and the tide is hauling buggy the opposite way. So he repositioned us about 2 or 3 times, and we're on him now. Look at that. Sweet. Dinner.
Good job, Bill.
Oh, yeah, he knows he's on now, Billy.
You can't have that line once it's already had it back.
No pump and reel volunteers. Push that button and hold on. Billy's got pulling the line down. That's right. Big old red, Billy. Yes, sir.
That's the lunch red.
Okay, here we go. Seems like forever to get down there. And then when it gets down there, you really don't feel a bite. The first time I felt a little nibble, but once it gets down there, like Jason was saying, you wait maybe 5 seconds, 10 seconds. If you don't feel anything, and you probably won't, just put it in gear. I mean, start reeling, push the button, and then it'll go along for a while, and you won't think you have anything. All of a sudden, you'll hear those gears go, start binding up, and then the rod tip will go down in the water. Sitting down, especially in a day like today for me, is a little bit easier, but it puts some pressure on your leg for sure. But we're sitting in the trough, which means we're sideways to the waves, and it's a little harder to stand up. And the angle that this current is running so fast, the angle, it almost looks like we're trolling, the angle of the line, it almost looks like we're trolling. But what Travis has done, he's anchored us up above the spot. So the current will take everything way back, then the lead will drop down right where it needs to be. And he's got us there. All right, I'm down, see what happens. I don't feel anything, so I'm gonna go ahead and give her a shot and see. Yep. Oh yeah. Come on, baby. Come on, Timmy. Don't stop. Whoa, he's pulling drag.
Whatever you see on that bike. Lift that rod out. Get him out of the hole, man. Come on. Come on.
Oh, that's a big boy.
It's a big fish. You gotta lift.
Go down now. That's when you're done. There you go. That's all that conditioning's for.
Get on the bike. Get on the bike. Get on it. Get on the bike. Don't let the rod hit the rail either. Whoa. Get on the bike. Come on, push it.
Dude, the one's following. There it was.
Come on, bud. You got it. You got this one. Stop. Ready? Stop. Yeah. Hey.
What a grouper!
Woo! RB!
Yeah!
Rusty belly in the back.
Ho-ho! Live wire style. Good job. There you go. There you go. That's the thing. That's it.
This is serious amberjack. We got grouper, we got red snapper.
July 1st, we'll be back from July 1st.
Woo!
That's like a
Bad. Hey.
Look at that big old jack there now. Nice AJ.
Thanks, AJ, for the cap.
See you later, buddy.
Big Billy's on the brim pole.
Yeah, no problem. No, we're good. We're good. We're handling it. Big old amberjack. Gee whiz, Billy.
Rules up this way, Billy.
On the butterfly jig.
Good job, Captain Billy.
I can assure you that's not what I had intention when I dropped it.
Now, in addition to those big red snapper, Travis, we are also catching some big old amberjacks. Do they normally sort of hang in the same place?
All reef fish, you're going to see, gag grouper, scamp grouper, the American red snapper, amberjacks. That's why you see a lot of pelagics. We were actually at one point fishing on a wreck. So I think that's where you're seeing some of those pelagics hang around the wrecks a little, in those areas.
Now, we were using live bait. We had a big old well full of pinfish that Jason caught for us, and we also had the Boston mackerel. And do you find that the amberjack like the live bait more than the dead bait, and the snapper the dead more than the live, or how can you tell?
Usually those big mackerels, using those big Boston mackerel, especially if you are trying to target gags, you put that big bait on, going down, those red snappers are usually higher up in the water column with the amberjacks. So the snappers are typically on the dead bait. The amberjacks normally like the live bait, but as you find out once in a while, amberjacks will almost eat anything falling too.
They will, and I found out pretty quick on this particular day that the amberjack were liking the live baits, so I was a dead bait man. I was catching those 20, 30-pound red snapper, not those 60, 80-pound amberjacks. Now, the red snapper season will close on July 10. That was a 40-day season. The American red snapper season closed on July 10. And the gag grouper will open up in state and federal waters July 1. in every county except Franklin, Wakulla, Jefferson, and Taylor up in northwest Florida. And it will open, gag grouper season will be from July 1 until August 31. So there's still plenty of time. Well, that gag grouper hadn't started yet. You're going to have to hustle if you want to get your red snapper. We do catch some monster gags, and coming up from that depth, Travis, you can't just catch them, dehook them, and let them go. You got to do something with them.
No, normally their swim bladder is blown up, so venting them using a venting tool. You know, you just come 2 inches behind that pectoral fin. You can push the venting tool in, and normally if you're hearing the air coming out, just watch the stomach relax out of the fish's mouth. As soon as you feel the air, you get that nice soft belly in them. They're usually pretty good in swimming away.
Yep, and you can watch them. They'll come up. Sometimes the belly will even be out in their mouth. And when you vent them, it just goes, comes back in. You drop them in the water. They're very happy, and they scoot on back down to the bottom. So make sure, in fact, it's a regulation when you go offshore, when you're bottom fishing, whether you're in the bay or out in the Gulf, you got to have the venting tool and a release tool. Got to have that release tool. Okie doke. Let's go back. We're going to catch some more of these fish, and we talk about big amberjack. Wait till you see this big amberjack Captain Billy Miller caught.
He knows who the daddy is, so he's coming on. All right, snapper. There it is. Thanks, Billy. Kind of like this. I just sit back here in this corner. Somebody brings me a bait, hooks it up, and I drop it down, catch a fish, they take it off, and then they bring me another bait. It's royal treatment here. Hey, come on with the bait, let's go.
Just don't stick the rod between your legs. All right, time to keep it.
Pompano way out here. Dang. Travis, you know how to catch everything.
Little barjack, good eating. You can tell the barjack from the amberjacks. You look at the girth, and that barjack has that long dorsal. Good eating.
The bar? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
good job.
good eating.
What's for breakfast?
God, Billy, what a monster. Holy cow. £70. £80, he says.
Chameleon. Keep him. He's legal. Color change. But
Nice going. Well, Travis, that was a big amberjack that Billy had.
That was a big amberjack, and you'll probably notice Billy pulling on some line, or a lot of times you'll watch us with the electric reels pull a little line. Fish normally 20 pounds or bigger will stall those electric reels out. Pulling a little line, getting that motor running to pull up. What Billy did excellent on that big jack, getting them up quick, was pulling on some line, getting the jack's head turned, and bringing them up, and the fish will kind of spin right on up, so he doesn't sit there on the back of the boat and beat you up for a half an hour.
Yeah. And the thought might be, and I know the first time I ever thought about electric reels was you just sit back and have a cocktail or a cool drink, no cocktails, and push the button and the fish just, oh, there's nothing to that. It is hands-on, interactive. I'm telling you what, when that reel stalls, as you were saying, Travis, it's tough. Now, I like to sit down, and I rested on my leg. Jeremy, Jeff's son, he was standing up. He was having to work it.
He had a full day at it, and I know the first trip we did, I think one of the first fish you caught was a Warsaw. I think you pulled a Rusty up after that, and it's sporting. Using the electric reels are sporting. You still have to work that rod. You have to have a little bit of finesse, pulling a little line in, so it's exciting. And plus, it gives you a chance to get some of those monsters off the bottom.
Yeah. And we talked about some nicknames, the Reef Donkey for the amberjack, and then there's a few other names, a Rusty Belly. Tell me what a Rusty Belly is.
Rusty Belly is kind of a nickname for a mature gag grouper. And when you look at pictures that we have, if you look at the belly, it's kind of brownish, a little rubbed. And what it is those big mature gag groupers sitting there on the bottom, and they just rub their bellies on the rocks, and it's just being the alpha fish down there.
Yeah. So that's the big boy down there. And then now, what about a carbo or a carburetor? What is that?
Carbo is actually a true black.
A true black as opposed to the
yeah,
gag.
and they have a little more of a checkerboard, brownish pattern to them. Mm-hmm. You see them a little bit thicker down south. As soon as you get south of the 26 line, normally you won't see them in that deep water. You'll find them around 180, 190 feet, up to 100-pounders, swimming in that water there.
Yeah.
But I haven't really come across them in that 300-foot range that we were fishing the other day.
So if you want to impress your friends, you can throw out the words like Rusty Belly and Reef Donkey and Carbo, and they'll think you know something about fishing. And make sure you do remember what we just said, what they were. Now, we had caught almost our limit of snapper, not all the way. Got a bunch of amberjack, caught some great big gags, and we were on a wreck. Now, Travis wanted to try a spring. He said, there's a spring close by. Let's go try that. We were all ready to go home. Everybody there was worn, slam out, but he wanted to stop at this. He said, okay, Travis, let's go. So we went over to the spring, and we caught some different stuff. We caught some vermilion snapper and a shark. That vermilion snapper, here's another one for you, beeliner. Throw out the word beeliner. That's a vermilion snapper. That's a pretty snapper, yeah. Travis. Beautiful fish.
Tasty fish. Also hanging around there, I believe we hooked a couple of smaller scamps.
Yeah.
So even though the regulations where you can't, red snapper were only up at that time, but the different fish that you can catch, kind of your bycatch, let's call it. Your vermilion snapper, your red grouper. So there's different things you can get while you're out there besides just the one fish that you're trying to target or that's open during the season.
You get a lot of variety, including sharks. I know you've been thinking, well, these guys are 100 miles out in the Gulf. They must catch monster sharks. Well, there's some big sharks out there, no question about it. And you do catch a few, whenever you're doing that. It's not uncommon.
You do see a few. I've seen some nice-sized makos out there. Typically, what you see is those silkies. I guess they're called silky sharks, and not much bigger than 2 foot.
Yeah.
But they like hanging over those wrecks, along with the barracudas. I know we had a catch and release a few of those. And sometimes you've gone to these wrecks a couple of years ago. It had no barracudas on it, and then all of a sudden you come back, no idea where they came from.
That's what makes one of the things that makes those long runs out in the Gulf, like you said, why you got hooked on it. You never know what you're going to catch. And that's true, but I can tell you one thing you do know. Most of the time, whatever you're going to catch is going to be real big. And that's those are two things that make it really sing. Let's go back and try some more with our last stop of the day.
Got some fish coming.
Hey, get back here.
Fish coming. Big snapper.
Marty Feldman.
Marty Feldman eyes, he said. Gotta be Jack Aurelius, huh? Yeah, thanks, Dan. It's all you. That's what I said long ago, Jeff. About an hour ago, I said, hey, Billy, it's all you. It's so big, they gotta hammer the drag tight.
There you go.
What's Billy got? Bottom fish, saying. Way to go, Billy. You got him, Billy. Just the right size one. Snapper! Bottoming this rod out. I got the biggest snapper ever caught.
Well, I heard you back here saying you'd already caught it.
Well, this is going to beat my record. I'm not thinking this is a snapper. It had cut bait on there. I was using cut bait. fishing for snapper, bottom fish, and that AJ bit it.
AJ's
The big dog.
That's a hog. Wow. That's a hog.
Nice one.
Huh?
Good, Jay.
There you go, Jack.
Billy. Billy.
Now,
Jeremy, 7 inches of snow come winter time. He'll be wishing your ass is back here. Catching a big red snapper. Vermilion.
yeah, baby.
Beeliner.
That's the third one.
Beeliner.
Boy, it's another baby rusty. Sir.
Golly, great. You got something, Travis? Bring in the right-hander.
That's it. My relief pitcher. Go right over the top of it, Jake. That's about it. It's a keeper, Rick. Oh, man. Brother, another gag.
Jag grouper, 300 foot on the jig. A nice one, too. Finest kind grouper.
Fish that eats a piece of metal.
Where are the
Cannot be
mackerel?
that. Fish, brother. Good job. You got him like you swipe your finger. Got him quick so that they don't. That was a nice gag grouper out in the Gulf of Mexico.
Well, that's the end of another great trip out in the Gulf of Mexico on the live wire with Captain Travis Palladeno. Our thanks to Jeff and Jeremy Brown for going along with us on this nice father-son trip with my son Billy Miller, and also to First Mate Jason Boyle. He's sharp. He's on it. He knows what to do.
That's Super J for you.
Yeah, that's
Super J.
I don't know that I'd want to go out on a trip like that without having somebody with his experience to help you out.
That's the key. The mates make it happen.
Yeah. And now, Travis, it's one thing to drop a 45-pound anchor with 40 foot of chain and 200 feet of line out, but it's another to pull it back in.
Yeah.
So you don't just go up there and just pull it in. You got a technique that a lot of the deep water guys use. Tell us about it.
What we use is an anchor retrieval ball, and basically, watching the footage here, you'll see where Super J attaches the line, and basically what I do is, number one, you don't want to put your anchor in your fishing spot. It's a good way to lose your anchor. Plus, you don't want to put your anchor into a wreck. That's another good way to lose your anchor. So pulling away from the spot, what I'll do is float the anchor first with the boat. Driving straight up my anchor course, bringing the boat around to about a 35-degree angle, to the starboard side. At that point, the Jay was able to go ahead, grab the anchor line, hook the anchor ball on, and then you just float it straight down the line. It goes over the chain, and with the big hoop on the bottom of the retrieval ball, the shaft, the shank of your anchor, falls right into it, and then of course the forks just hang it right there. Turn back around, and then all you're pulling in is slack anchor line. You know, just drive your boat right back towards your anchor. It makes it easy, and it saves on mates.
Yeah, it does. And I'll tell you what, you can use this technique in 10 feet of water, 20 feet of water, 30 feet of water. When I'm anchored, sometimes in some 15, 20 foot of water, say tarpon fishing at the Skyway, and there's nobody there that I'm really sure that can handle the anchor, I'll do the same thing. I'll run up on that anchor. I may not attach the ball to it, but I'll run up on that anchor and pull it out, and then I'll just turn the boat around downwind and work my way right down to it. Now, the anchor may drop to the bottom, but when you get to it, you're going to be straight up and down instead of pulling the boat and everything against the wind at a 45-degree angle. And that's that will help you a lot. Save on your back. Now, we mentioned about gag grouper, and red grouper is also open. We mentioned about the American red snapper. The AmberJack is closed in state waters, and AmberJack will open August the 1st. August the 1st, AmberJack will open. And if you're in the Gulf, in either state or federal waters, triggerfish are closed. I didn't know that there was the fishing pressure on triggerfish, and I have a feeling it must be up in the northwest part of the state, Travis, but we don't catch that many here.
Yeah, normally you're right. That one last trip we did in the northern edges that you were with us, and if you notice, we caught a couple of big gray triggers. Yeah. So it is mainly a northern fishery in the North Gulf.
I talked to my buddies up there in Destin, Panama City, and places like that, and they catch a lot of triggerfish. In fact, sometimes when I was up there, at times we were trolling frozen Spanish sardines and cigar minnows for kingfish during the kingfish season up there, and the triggers will come right up to the top and just eat your baits right off. So they do have a lot of triggers up there, and triggers, by the way, are excellent eating. They are one of my favorite fish. Speaking of excellent eating, opening up on July 1 is scallop season. Now, the bay scallop season along the west coast of Florida, that's a busy time for a lot of people. It's good. It's a good thing to do and a lot of fun. Good family activity.
And I was just up in Steinhatchee this past Friday, and there's a lot of reports off the Steinhatchee River. People have been already kind of scouting out their spots.
And it'll be a lot of fun. Now, the season is normally open through September 10th, but in a couple of days, the FWC at their meeting in Palm Beach is going to discuss extending the season by 2 weeks. And if they do that, that will be a good thing because it is a lot of fun. The scallop range is inside its state waters, inside of 9 miles. The southern boundary is the Pasco-Hernando County line, which is right about Arapica, or you could say Weeki Wachee. There's a boat ramp there, Weeki Wachee, and you go out to Weeki Wachee River. That's a good way to start. But it is Arapica, the Pasco-Hernando County line, and it goes up to the northern boundary is the west bank of the Mexico Beach Canal. That's in Bay County up near Panama City. Travis, what can we, in your world, the deep water world, what can we expect coming up here in the next month or so?
The next month or so, as we get into July, I think those full moon trips out to the middle grounds, the mangrove snapper should be spawning. You get them on the backside of that moon, you will catch some healthy mangrove snapper. Work the west side of the middle grounds, you'll probably catch some nice gags. So you can have a real nice trip with your gags, your red grouper, and your mangrove snapper.
And it should be a pretty good time for the pelagics, too, shouldn't it?
Definitely, especially the northern part of the Gulf like that.
A little bit closer, now don't forget when the grouper season opens up, you'll be able to catch some grouper in close. You don't have to go that far. And you can catch them inside of state waters, catch them up inside of Tampa Bay. But just remember, you get a two gag per person, 22-inch limit, minimum limit, and you can only have a maximum of 4 grouper on board. So you got to be able to play that thing a little bit. A 4 grouper on board, 4. You get a bag limit of 4, but only 2 can be gags. Best thing to do is check myfwc.com for regulations. There's so many regulations, Travis, it's hard to, I can't even remember them. It's hard to do, so make sure you do that. Tarpon will continue on. And next week we're going to be doing some tarpon fishing where, weather permitting, we're going to be out on the Reddington Pier. We're going to show you guys how to catch tarpon from the pier, from land. You don't need a boat. And it's quite exciting and a lot of fun. You're going to see a lot of interesting characters that we're tarpon fishing with out there on the pier. The trout fishing will continue to be good. That's on the deep grass. Inside on the shallow stuff, water temperature is going to be too hot. So you want to get out in that 5-6 foot of water for your best action, along with Spanish mackerel. They will also be there. There will be some schools of redfish. The redfish, not necessarily in July, but heading into August, they'll start getting in their bigger schools for spawning. There are still a few snook around. Snook is closed and probably will be closed for at least another year. So snook is catch and release only. Now, if you want to make one of those deep water trips, you need to give Captain Travis Palladeno a call. Travis, do you still have some open dates here coming up?
We're getting a little tight.
Getting a little tight, but you call him anyway, because if you want to catch a big fish, you go with him. If he can't get in this year, then get on the books for next year. Travis, thanks for being with us.
Captain Bill, it was an honor to take a legend fishing.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for joining us tonight. We enjoyed it. That's Captain Travis Palladeno. I'm Bill Miller. This is Fishing with Bill Miller. Check us out on Facebook. Like us on Facebook, and send us some pictures. Tweet us. Let us know what's happening in your world. We look forward to seeing you right here next week. So long, everybody. Thanks for watching.